Many gamers have their favorite horror games. For some of the younger gamers, it may be one of the first two Outlast games, which are masters of jump scares and making your survival instincts kick in. Or, as may be the case with the older horror fans, maybe your favorite horror game is Alien Isolation, which makes you genuinely terrified with the unpredictable nature of the xenomorph. Or, if you have an actual taste in horror games that make you suffer, Shark Tale on Game Boy. Many people say that frictional games made horror gaming into what it is today through Penumbra and Amnesia. However, today I really want to talk about a forgotten masterpiece that not that many people had ever actually played. A game that is one of the first games to define modern day horror games. A game that got overshadowed and still doesn't get enough recognition to this day. But before we get into that, we need to categorize horror games into three categories: first wave, second wave, and third wave. First wave horror games were usually in the style of survival horror, which means horror where you have to actively fight against a threat, gather resources like ammo and healing items, and kill anything that isn't friendly. These are games like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, both of which handled horror in very different ways, but both can be categorized as survival horror due to their shared elements. Second wave could be considered to be founded by the Penumbra games, which were created by Frictional Games, a studio which later went on to create the absolute horror masterpiece Amnesia: The Dark Descent, as well as another modern day horror classic, Soma. The trilogy was designed with one core element in mind: taking away the guns and forcing the players to rely on their surroundings and other means of fending off enemies like your Euronymous, and everyone f***ing ever is on their way to kill you.
I felt like I needed to go over and kill that Øystein Euronymous.
This defenselessness was later mimicked to various degrees of success by other game studios. Sometimes you might be defending yourself with weapons and tools that won't outright kill the enemy, but will give you some breathing room, like it is in Alien Isolation. In other horror games, you have literally no weapons and you must hide or run to survive. Usually these games, as well as many other horror games that came out in late 2000s and after, switch the perspective from third-person camera to the first-person camera in an attempt to draw you deeper into the gameplay. Third wave is actually defined by two trends which have one thing in common: the sheer variety of ideas that came when horror games started getting produced mainly in the indie scene. There are two main kinds of third wave horror games that appeared around the same time. First one was the self-explanatory and incredibly annoying masked-based horror games like Slender, 8 Pages, Five Nights at Freddy's, Poppy Playtime, or even the godforsaken Garden of Banban. The second kind is abstract or experimental horror that mixes in gameplay elements or aesthetics that are not necessarily based in horror, like Squirrel Stapler, Iron Lung, or Day 178. These games are one-offs that are usually pretty short, but very effective at scaring your pants off. Of course, these waves can mix and blend with each other, such as in the case of Cry of Fear, Total Chaos, or even Alien Isolation. One series had a successful transformation into the first-person format: Resident Evil. With Resident Evil 7, we found out that not only you can still have the shooting of the FPS games and crafting with inventory management of survival games, but also a compelling horror experience, all while delivering an interesting story. But there's one series that had completely missed its chances at making it in the second wave and rolled that first wave horror style to the ground, and that's the Silent Hill I've mentioned previously. Well, it's not like there wasn't an attempt from Konami to do it. There was an attempt with Silent Hills, but that got cancelled pretty quickly due to the whole Kojima thing. There are a lot of rumors on what happened, but whatever might be the real case for the cancellation of Silent Hills, Konami got fed up with Kojima and told him to leave. And that's how we got Silent Hill Pachinko.
Pain. Suffering. Agony.
But I'm not here to talk about Silent Hills, the many trip-ups of Konami, or to shit on Kojima. I'm here to talk about an oddity in the Silent Hill series. A game you all have probably forgotten about at this point, or never even heard of when exploring the series. As you can already tell from the title, it's not a regular PlayStation game or a regular PC game. I'm talking about Silent Hill Shattered Memories, and more specifically, its PSP port. I'm in a few different Silent Hill communities, and by far the least discussed game in the entire series is this game. This is because it is a spin-off from the main series and doesn't take place in the same universe. But why do I think that this game deserves recognition? Well, mainly because it did what most of today's horror games are doing before first-person horror games even got popular. However, as I've mentioned previously, it got overshadowed by Penumbra and Amnesia. The last episode of the Penumbra trilogy, Penumbra Requiem, came out on 27th of August 2008, and Shattered Memories came out on 8th of December 2009, about a year after it. Not even a year later, on 8th of September 2010, came out Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and you can start to see the problem here. Due to these giants coming out around the time of its release, it didn't cement itself in the general history of horror games. What contributed to this is that fans of Silent Hill were extremely disappointed with the recent release of Origins and the incredibly terrible Homecoming, along with its incredibly broken PC port. Today I will try to correct that and explain why you should give this game a chance. This game is one of the most interesting games in the series, and the storytelling is so much more interesting than what was done in the original game, which in comparison to today's standards was pretty straightforward with its story. And although it is available on 3 platforms, Wii, PlayStation and PSP, I personally love the PSP version, although PS2 is probably better and easier to emulate. And since I own the original UMD, PSP and AV composite cables to connect my PSP to the TV with, this is the version I'm most familiar with. Originally, this game had a different name, Silent Hill Cold Heart, and was supposed to be about a student named Jessica Chambers. The premise was similar to what we got in the final release of Shattered Memories. The game was building a psychological profile for the player, it was set in the frozen, blizzardy Silent Hill, and it even had elements of survival. However, because the developers overestimated the capabilities of the Nintendo Wii, the ideas from the pitch were then reused for Shattered Memories. The story was changed from its original plot into a reimagination of the first game. It has certain locations that are the same, few characters from the first game are still here, and it also starts with a car crash, but pretty much everything else is completely different. I think I've talked enough about things that are not related to the final product, so I probably should start talking about the game itself. But before I get into the story, I will discuss the mechanics. I do have to give you a warning here. Of course, this entire video is full of spoilers, therefore you shouldn't watch it if you are intending to play the game, as even just talking about the mechanics will spoil your enjoyment of the game and the story. Seriously, this is your last chance. If the premise of a horror game that changes subtly... Is it subtly, or what, how the f do you even say that word? If the premise of a horror game that changes subtly... Is it subtly or subtly?
Subtly.
If the premise of a horror game that changes subtly... Is it subtly or? Subtly. If the premise of a horror game that changes subtly according to your decisions, that I'm getting Google Translate to say that for me. If the premise of a horror game that changes
Subtly
according to your decisions and that also creates your psychological profile sounds interesting, go and play the game and then come back. You will now have 5 seconds to click off this video. And for the rest of you who decided to watch this video anyways for various reasons, here we go. As the warning screen details, this game will create a psychological profile for you that will affect your gameplay experience. This is true, however, it isn't tied to the player entirely. It's actually tied to players' actions during the gameplay. There are 3 main things that change the game and its various aspects directly. It's the objects you inspect, the paths you take, and the answers you give to the psychologist. It's clever because the way the game changes down the line isn't affected by dialogue options, which would diminish or even make the other path defining things obsolete. These things are also very subtle, and there is no indication or a status screen for your stats in certain areas like alcoholism, sex or family values, so unless you've finished the game multiple times, you won't even know what to look for to know where your story is going to go. Looking at certain objects doesn't affect your psychological profile in certain areas that much, but in other areas, like in the case of your sex stats, looking at breasts will raise the score for sex.
Boobies.
At various points during the gameplay, you will be watching from the first-person perspective in Dr. Kaufman's office, where he will be giving you various tasks, talk to you about various things, and ask you questions. During the therapy sessions, you are expected to answer the questions as if it was you who was answering them. While playing as Harry, you will often be allowed to take various paths in the regular world of Silent Hill. Choosing one path over another one will often result in getting locked out of the other path and will further mold the world in next parts of the story. These options will then further affect the gameplay, like the behavior and looks of certain characters, location designs, and even the monster designs. It's a shame that the change in monster design doesn't include change in behavior, as you spend about 45% of the game running away from them. You won't have enough time to look behind you and study their bodies while running, as you will only rarely be hiding from them. Also, these monster designs will change depending on which ending you're heading towards. The monsters themselves are called raw shock, but there are 4 types of them: feminine, diseased, abstract, and atrophied, each tied to a different ending I will discuss at the end of this video. The game can be split into 3 parts: the safe areas, frozen dimension, and the therapy sessions. It's obvious when the safe areas change to chase areas. Every time the world changes into its frozen and dark version, you know you're about to get chased through the frozen alleyways and corridors by monsters. When everything looks abandoned and completely normal, you know you're safe for some time. Besides that, there are basic exploration mechanics, like picking up objects and storing them away. However, since this game lacks combat and a health bar, you won't get more than one item at a time. This can be either great or bad, depending on your previous experience with the series. If you are familiar with the series, you know that they've always had an inventory of some sorts. But if you are a diehard fan of the original, or if you enjoy survival horror more than chase horror, the lack of inventory management can be very limiting. Going back to the waves of horror I've mentioned, this was one of the first games that had ever done something like this, as even Penumbra and Amnesia had inventory systems with various items. The most utilized mechanic of this game is by far the phone that Harry carries around. You're able to take and save photos, which is used during certain puzzles, call various numbers, and check the map. Your phone will also help you discover the backstory of your surroundings when you receive various messages and call recordings, creating little substories contained to certain areas. You can also pull out your phone during the chase sections of the game to check your map, which shows you openable doors. It also marks down the path you've ran through already, which can be helpful if you get lost, with the trade-off being that the monsters can catch up to you while you are pulling out your phone.
I'm fast as fuck, boy!
You won't be able to fight back, and the only option for you is to just run. It's an absolute chase horror, and the only option of defense you have is an occasional flare that slows down enemies and makes them stop on the spot, as they are afraid of the light it emits. It's best if you drop the flare in a tight corridor to slow the monsters down, so that you can get some breathing room or even some time to regain your breath. While you are running, you will have to get used to the monsters throwing themselves onto you if you let them get too close, which lowers your health. Besides standing still or hiding in a wardrobe, there is no way to recover it, so if you slip up during the chase, you will have to go back to a checkpoint or your last save. While escaping, you can hide around various wardrobes, under beds, pull down various objects to block the way of the monsters, and even pick up flares, as I've already mentioned. If you're playing this game for the first time, don't even bother to hide unless it is absolutely necessary, because there's a large chance that the monsters will find you by sensing your smell. Hide only if you are truly lost and when you need to get the monsters off your back. Always pull down objects behind you, as even when you pass them for the second time, when you get lost during the chase sections, the monsters will still be slowed down by them. Now, I think it is important to say that I would appreciate if you considered subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can change your mind if you don't like my future content. Besides subscribing, I'd also love if you share this video on your social media, since that gives me more reach and helps me immensely. Showing your support by subscribing and sharing this video shows me that it was worth making it, since I've spent money to buy the equipment so that I could record the gameplay from PSP. And I also stole this entire idea from Pyro and Totally Pointless TV, so there's that. And with that, let's get into the story itself. In this game, you will be put into the shoes of Hibernation and an unknown protagonist, who you will be controlling during the therapy sessions. As I've said already, Shattered Memories is a complete reimagination of the first entry to the Silent Hill series, so don't expect the exact same story, but expect only shared elements and characters in between these two games. The game begins with a VHS tape of a little girl enjoying a day with her parents at a theme park. It then cuts to a scene switching shots in between Kaufman's office and the car crash of the dad from the home video. The game starts for real with the therapy session at Dr. Kaufman's office. This will be a regular part of the game and will sort of serve as a chapter introduction section.
I'm glad you came. Just turning up shows your commitment to the process. Good. I've read your notes. The other therapist didn't work out for you. I want you to know this will be different. We take this at your pace. No notes, no drugs, no theories. We go back to the start. Understand what happened.
After the monologue ends, you are given a questionnaire. Answer it truthfully and don't take these sessions with Kaufman lightly, as they will have an effect on the game later on.
What the hell?
Cheryl? Cheryl? Sweetie? Oh my god. Cheryl? 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 Cheryl!
You are in the junkyard and Cheryl is nowhere to be found. The only thing she left behind was her teddy bear. Harry's main quest through the entire game will be to find her. In the junkyard you will get a one-time feature that appears only in this part of the game, yelling out Cheryl's name, Heavy Rain style. Here you will also discover a mechanic that you will never use, picking by slightly opening doors. You don't use this during chases and you certainly won't need it in the regular world, so you are fully welcome to slam through these doors like you're in Kane and Lynch 2.
The gameplay isn't engaging on it at all. What the fuck?
Holy shit!
After passing through the car repair shop and movie rental store, you will have the first branching path that changes things down the line. You either go through a video store or through a dress shop. These branching paths often have different puzzles in them, and as I've said, taking one locks you out of the other path. In both of them, you'll be introduced to your first real puzzle. This is how you will be usually progressing through the real world. You will always get to a location where you are required to solve a puzzle or find a key. And sometimes you will be allowed to take one of the two paths that will give you a different puzzle to solve. After going through either one of them and climbing over a fence, you will end up at a playground. There is a strange static ghost on the swing, as well as a locked door. Explore the area and you will find a couple of cans in the back of a wooden cart. One of them has a key in it and you will have to flip the cans to find it. Depending on a random chance, if you've looked at the bottles of alcohol in the garage or answered positively to the alcohol related questions during the psychiatric evaluation part, either the diner or the bar will be open. In the bar you will meet an unnamed barmaid or a cop named Sybil in the diner. Either way, the diner is the better option as the barmaid is never seen again. Here is where the video gets difficult. I simply can't show you all the variations of the gameplay due to how many there are. It would take a lot of effort for me to write it all down and find out which variations are random and which are not, a ton of disk space to record it, and even more time to edit it all down, so I'm just going to stick with the path and the variations I've got for the sake of keeping this video as short as I can without leaving out the necessary stuff. Anyways, Harry enters the diner and meets Sybil.
You okay, sir? Not a good night to be out and about.
I'm looking for my daughter.
Take a seat. Your daughter. Go on.
We were in a car accident. When I came to, she was gone.
Maybe she went to get help.
Her name's Cheryl. Here's a photo.
Cute. Harry Mason. Levin Street. Your ID says you live on Levin Street. That's a few blocks from here.
Maybe she went home. Makes sense.
Harry? Your phone?
My phone. Right. They hung up.
A lot of problems with phones on account of the storm. Maybe that was your little girl.
She could be trying to call me from home.
All units, please respond. Unconfirmed reports.
As soon as I'm done, I'll meet you over there. Levin Street.
Thanks.
Take care.
This is where we get the phone. Since we finally have it, we can make full use of the features I've mentioned earlier. If you've noticed a poster with various phone numbers right after you enter the hallway in car repair shop at the start, you will know that you can make calls to most of these numbers. When you call Riverside Motel, you will notice that the speaker on the other side sounds a bit scared. This is a reference to Silent Hill Origins, more specifically to its main character Travis Grady.
Riverside Motel is closed for the season. If you have inquiries about lost property or renting a room for fishing trips, please come visit and speak to our out-of-season caretaker.
In my gameplay, I've forgotten that there was a memento behind the counter, but who cares. Mementos are objects of no use that you can collect during the game, and they appear in a post-credit scene. That's why I won't be mentioning memento locations other than a very few of them, as they do not really affect the ending in any way, even though they appear in a post-credit scene. So, anyways, back to where you came. When passing through the playground, you can take a photo of the ghost, which gives you a message. Listening to the message will give you this audio clip.
Daddy, I need you.
Continue the way you came, and once you return to the video store, as it was in my case, your phone and flashlight will start glitching out until you reach the center of the echo. You will get another message. These echoes are spread throughout the entire game, so look for them, as all text messages and audio logs have some sort of significance to the plot or to the area. Suddenly, as you are talking to Cheryl on the phone...
Cheryl?
Daddy? Daddy?
Sweetie, you're okay? Are you at home? Sweetie, wait there. Wait for me.
You have to run, Daddy. You can't fight them. Run!
What? Is somebody with you? Cheryl! I'm coming to get you! Damn it!
The world freezes over. You can't go anywhere besides a single door. Going through it will give you another cutscene. Now you have to run. This is your first chase section. If you keep running in a straight line, you should be alright. As I've previously said, if you somehow manage to get lost, you can pull out your phone to check the map, but do keep in mind that by doing this, the monsters will be able to catch up to you pretty easily. In the PSP version, you get much better performance when you turn off the flashlight. It's a miracle that they even got this game to work, as it's basically a port of the PS2 version. One thing I love and hate about this game is how outright dark it is. In most sections you can't see anything without it, so you literally have to have it pulled out, but during other sections you can just have it turned off and see pretty well. Finally, Harry manages to escape the nightmare, and as the ice melts, he finally sees his house.
Family.
You are in Dr. Kaufman's office again, and he plays a short game of true or false with you. Again, these questions will affect the gameplay in the future. After this, you are able to color the picture in front of you. This doesn't really affect the story, but it affects the textures in the next cutscene, as the house and the married couple will have the same colors as the picture you just colored.
Are you okay, son?
No! What are you people doing in my house? Cheryl!
Easy there. This isn't your house.
Some trouble, honey?
No, Lucy. This man here's just a little confused.
This is my house!
Well, I don't see how that can be the case. We've been here nearly 14 years. Sure you got the right address?
Who was that?
That was our daughter, Katie. You're in a bad way, son, getting yourself all worked up.
Are you okay?
I am not okay! I was in a car accident. My daughter is gone, and you people are in my house! This is all wrong!
You're starting to make a scene.
This doesn't make sense. Not at all. Cheryl!
You are upsetting my wife.
Get the hell out of my house! It's my house! It's my damn house! Cheryl!
Harry?
There are people in my house. I think they've got Cheryl.
Okay, calm down, Harry. It's okay, Mike. I've got this covered.
You know him? You're part of this?
Hold up.
You saw my license. This is my home.
Can I see that license again? I know the Stewarts. They don't have your daughter. They're school teachers. Let's me and you head to the police station. We can sort this out.
Shouldn't have trusted you. Damn cops.
Don't say anything you're going to regret later. I'm on your side, Mr. Mason. Come with me and we'll make this right. You know what's funny? I've been a cop in this town for 20 years. Before that, I used to ride around in my daddy's patrol car, so I know the town, know the people. But your face? I don't know you.
I keep out of trouble.
Not tonight.
What is with all this snow?
Who knows? We only covered basic meteorology in the academy. Hell, we didn't hear about this till it was happening. Barely had time to close off the major highways.
It's like the whole town is being punished.
It's only weather.
Sure.
I'm sure your daughter's okay. We've just got to clear this thing up. We should probably get you to the hospital, too, once we know she's safe.
I'm fine.
The human brain is a delicate thing, Harry. Need to get you checked out.
Yeah.
Damn, this snow is crazy. I can't see the road. Wait here. I'm just gonna check where we are.
Sybil gives Harry a ride back to the police station. However, the blizzard gets too harsh for them to drive any further, and Sybil goes to check where they are to make sure that they can keep going forward. No matter how long you sit there, she never returns. And because I am dumb, I legit sat there for solid 4 minutes until I figured out how to leave the car. After leaving the car, you are met with the ambience of the dark forest and a blocked off road. Jumping over the fence gets you to a small cottage where you get an echo message.
Damn it, Mom. Why do you never pick up? I need you. I'm at a party in the woods, but I'm feeling uncomfortable. I need you to come pick me up.
In this part of the game, you will be shown that in each area in the quote-unquote regular world, you will gather messages that are categorized into sets. These messages create a small story that took place in that area. I will mention it again at the end of the video, but for the sake of giving you a fuller image without telling you what I'm intending to do here, I will show them to you. After you get the key from the first aid box and leave the hut, you will enter a dark forest. Here I have to mention just how outright terrifying and amazing the sound design is. Besides Silent Hill 2, I think that this game is the second best work of Akira Yamaoka, the composer for all except for one mainline entries. It makes the forest feel way creepier, as if it wasn't already creepy enough. In the forest, if you wander between the trees in the right place, you will eventually find another message near a water tower. This one is a text message, and it is written by a person who is clearly struggling.
Don't worry about looking for me. I will be with my brother again soon. I hope he forgives me. It's so cold. It had to end like this.
One thing with the messages is that most of them can be considered as a part of the story. It's pretty much up to players' decision as to which messages fit into the story and which are just set dressing. However, because I don't want to spoil the ending to this video, I won't tell you yet why I believe that. After going through a fishing hut, you will pass by another echo message. This one is located up on a ledge that is hard to miss and is obtained near your sleeping bag.
Crazy shit, man. We shouldn't have given the new girl that stuff. She's running around tearing her clothes off. Won't stop crying. Damn. Shut up about who gave it to her, Lewis.
With the message, there is a photo of the girl attached. Remember this face because it will be important later on. Near this area is a water pump building. Head inside and go deeper into the building. If you go into the large tunnel through the doors, you will just end up in the area with the water tower again. Continue in this area all the way to the dead end without going through the door, and you will find a ghost in water trapped behind some bars. After you take the photo, you will notice that the hands are reaching out for help.
It's my brother! I was just playing, trying to scare him. I shut him in. But now the water's stewing up. He can't get out. I can't get him out.
Get out of the building the way you came, continue down the road, and you will eventually arrive at a lodge. Here you will notice a dead bear trophy on the table, and in another part of the lodge you will find a ghost hanging from the ceiling. After you take the photo of the ghost, you will see that it's a carcass of a deer. The message you receive will read:
Georgia's first kill. Field dressed, weight 180 pounds. He's a natural born killer.
Continue down the road and you will get a call from Sybil.
Harry?
Officer Bennett? What's going on?
I'm looking for you. Where are you?
I'm in some woods.
What made you run off, Harry?
Run off?
Harry.
I need to find my daughter. Christ. I'm not under arrest, am I?
Harry? You're worrying me. Think this through. You need to come with me.
Sorry, I'm heading back to town.
Wait, Harry, don't...
Harry stubbornly refuses to be helped by Sybil and insists on continuing on his own. This will be a running theme for Harry and further helps to create an image of a caring father who will go to any length to save his daughter. Heading down next to the river, you will eventually run into a deer's skull hanging from the tree and you will get an audio message.
Stop crying, Joel. Stop being such a pussy. Finish the damn thing. If you'd aimed better in the first place, you wouldn't be suffering like that. Just point and shoot. It's right in front of you.
This message is the final one that completes a small story for this area. If we put the messages we already have together with this one, we get a small story. Joel Jr. was on a hunting trip with his parents and his brother. His father forced him to finish off a deer he didn't shoot properly, but still celebrated the kill regardless. Later on during the trip, Joel Jr. accidentally killed his brother after closing him in a pool behind the gate in the water pump station to scare him. His brother died there, and a few years later, when he was a teenager, Joel Jr. committed suicide by going out into the woods and freezing to death, hoping that his suicide would be enough of a punishment for killing his brother. Continuing onwards, you will find a key next to the hut that opens its front door. After you enter, you will see the ghost of a little girl sitting above a hole. After you approach her, she shrieks in fear and runs outside, freezing everything around you. Another chase sequence is ahead of you. This chase is pretty easy, you just have to run straight forward and towards a small hut that's on top of a ledge. I had to hide under the bed here, as a monster had immediately entered the room by sheer luck. After it left, I carried on, trying to not stay in the hiding place for too long so that the monsters couldn't smell me. After you leave, you will spot some lights in the distance, which will be your guidance tools for this chase. Appreciate it while it lasts, because you won't be getting any sort of help in the following chases. Keep following the lights until you run inside the lodge. Both doors will freeze over, and an echo will be present.
I'm on the phone! Yeah, I'm coming back early. This isn't working out.
Mom!
Not now, honey. Mommy's on the phone. Put your damn drink down and look after her!
Mommy!
Shush! Go show Daddy. This whole trip was a bad idea. He's no better here. Worse, if anything. I can't put up with it anymore.
I won! Mom! I won!
All right! In a minute. Give me a second, Diane.
This message shows us another kind of messages that we will be getting. The ones that will help you solve various puzzles. If you didn't catch the animal sounds during the first listen, you can replay the message. However, you will again be forced to listen to the mom telling her friend on the phone about her drunk husband. By the way, I forgot to mention this before, but I think it's amazing how they designed the gameplay so carefully to give the player the illusion of a linear story on the first playthrough, to make them feel that they can't do a lot to affect the story, because there are no dialogue options. However, as Speedrunner Punchy said this in his video where he ranked all the Silent Hill games,
I feel like the psychology gimmick is an adequate idea that needs better framing. So Shattered Memories makes a lot of hay about, oh, the game reacts, how you play, things change, but draws no real attention to them. So like when you get to the end of the game, you're not sure how many things happened because of the actions you took, and how many things were just things that were scripted to happen anyway. And when you get to the end of the game, why not just present a list of things that's like, you answered this way, so you saw this version of Sybil. But did you know? There are more versions of Sybil. You should try and find them. I feel like the system should have actually been more transparent, because as it is, no one's really sure how it works. Like, if you try to get a specific ending, you might struggle, because no one really knows how the system functions.
But back to the story. Use the sounds from the voice recording to figure out how to solve the riddle in the music box. You will receive another message after you solve it.
I know. That's the problem, Diane.
Look!
Was that your glass? Well, what was she doing?
Mommy!
Oh my god! Is that blood?
Exiting the lodge, you will enter the second part of this chase sequence. The exit is not far from here, so just run straight forward and let the lights guide you. Run as fast as you can and hope that your left thumb won't get tired of pushing the joystick, because the monsters here can catch up to you really quickly if you mess up. Running into another lodge, you will finally be free from this nightmare. The world returns to normal again and will be covered in snow instead of ice. We will spot a blue car nearby. It has a ghost sitting on the front passenger seat. After you take the photo, you may notice that the girl looks familiar when you look at her through the camera.
Take your hands off me! You've had too much to drink!
Yeah, I'm drunk on your love. Give it up, baby.
Get off! No!
Continue forward until you see a sign of Midwich High School. After jumping through the fence, Sybil will call you again.
Officer?
Harry, I've been calling you. Did you switch your phone off?
No, I don't know where I was.
Harry, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm out of the woods. I'm on a football field. I think it's the high school.
Midwich High School. Listen, Harry, Midwich has a gym. They often use it as an emergency shelter in severe weather. Go to the gym and wait there for me.
Emergency shelter? Cheryl could have been taken there.
Yes, Cheryl could be there. Will you do this for me?
Yeah, I'm going. But if Cheryl's not there, I can't wait. I'm sorry, I just can't.
Harry...
After this call is over, you'll get into the next part of the game.
This bitch empty!
You are back in therapy. It is clear that one of the main themes of this chapter will be the difficulty of being a teenager. Kaufman asks you a couple of questions and you will be allowed to build your own timetable for your perfect school day. After this short interjection, you will be back in the school. After you get the key through an open window, you enter some room that was used by the janitor. Entering the hallway, you will notice a phone number written on the wall. Calling it will redirect the call to an answering machine.
This is a voicemail. I've changed my number, so I don't have to listen to you losers anymore. You think it's funny. It's not. Oh, whoever it was that spoke to my mom, screw you! You sick bastards!
This hallway leads out to a street, and on your left is an echo that is attached to a poster talking about the dangerous game, the choking game.
All students, there is a craze at the moment for young adults to try what is often called the choking game. Don't be stupid, don't risk your young lives or health. No parent should have to bury their child.
Besides tying this into this world's lore, the entire choking game bit was a reaction to a challenge that's been making rounds since 2008. However, at the start of this year, it reappeared as the Blackout Challenge on TikTok, and I'm not even going to describe what it is about because you can probably guess that just based on its name. And of course, since people on TikTok are usually below average in terms of IQ, some of them died. Of course, just like in the real world, it is also claiming lives in the world of Silent Hill.
Just do it! Just fucking do it! Just fucking do it! Yeah! Just do it, you fucking pussy! Kill yourself! Oh yeah!
God damn it, some TikTok users really do have a room temperature IQ.
You stupid.
They're not.
What's 9 plus 10?
21.
You stupid.
Continuing down the street, you will enter a restaurant. If you approach a table with food on it by the window, you will get another echo.
Why can't you be relaxed with me, like you should? Is it your parents' house? You don't want to do it there? Maybe there's other places. Why you gotta be so frigid?
When you enter the kitchen, another echo text message awaits you in the back, near the apron and the cap on the hanger.
I can't believe they made a joke in front of Rick. Everyone knows how close he was to his brother.
After you leave the restaurant through the door on top of the staircase and jump through a gap onto the roof of another building, you will enter what seems to be a brothel. Taking a photo of the ghost on the couch gives us a voice message.
Sorry, I hit you. I guess I was just mad at myself. You look so much like my daughter. Just put the wig back on and let's go upstairs.
After you go through the other exit in the restaurant, you will find yourself on another street in front of another building of the school. Approaching one of the cars will give you another echo.
You got all your books? Your lunch? Good. How come you changed your hair? The other girls tell you to do your hair like that? I thought you looked great with pigtails. Okay, honey. You have a nice day.
Continuing on, you have to pull out some nails from a window to get inside the building. After you enter, you will see a ghost of a person hanging on a coat hanger. Taking a photo of the ghost gives you another voice message.
That's a nice new belt, Todd. Oh, thank you, Mom. You have a nice day at school. Sure, Mom. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Sure, Mom. Whoa.
This is the conclusion that ties the two previous messages about the choking game and Rick into the second mini-story. The choking game was making rounds in Silent Hill's younger demographic. At the same time, someone named Todd hanged himself with a belt in a storage room in the school, apparently because of his strained relationship with his mom. Later on, the kids around his brother Rick made a joke either about the choking game or Todd's death. But Todd didn't take part in the choking game, he outright killed himself. Continuing on, you will enter the school hallway and you will meet the scared ghost girl again. Approaching a nearby echo attached to a bench will give you a new message.
sorry for doing this like this, but it's for the best. We aren't working as a relationship. Let's stay friends, right?
Continuing for the classroom on the left, we can enter the schoolyard, where we can get another message when we approach one of the tables.
Hey Caitlin, you got till lunch is over to say yes. The question, will it be my prom date?
Continuing further into another classroom, we get an opportunity to dissect a frog to get a memento, and after we walk up the stairs, we will get a branching path. Either we go into the planetarium or the art studio. I chose the art studio, although neither of them contains something related to the lore or world building. Finishing either of the puzzles will get you into the school's hallway again, and you will meet the scared ghost girl again as she runs away.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Someone named Dahlia sends you a picture of herself. If you call her, you can hear music blaring from the other side, as well as Dahlia's laughter, after which she hangs up. Approaching the poster on the left gives you another echo message.
It's almost over. Almost done. We're almost done with high school. In many ways, that's a great thing. We're all excited about getting out into the real world, carving our own paths. But before we do, let's remember how great high school was. Let's remember the friends we've made, the fun we've had, the parties, the ups and the downs. Apparently, life gets worse from here on in. So let's treasure those memories. Now, let's dance!
You can leave this area by entering a code from a picture from one of the lockers into the numpad. Entering the schoolyard again, you will see that you are in front of the gymnasium, however there is a giant sign on top of it announcing a reunion party. It doesn't really look like it was turned into an emergency shelter at all, as there is no one around. After entering the gymnasium, you will notice that it wasn't turned into an emergency shelter at all. It looks like the reunion party was taking place here, but everyone left already. A cutscene will start, and here you will meet another character, Michelle. Depending on your previous choices, she will have different appearance, will sing a different song, and will behave slightly differently.
Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should. You're always on my mind.
I didn't want to stop you, but I'm looking for the shelter.
You're not here for the reunion?
No.
Catch. Thanks, Michelle Valdez.
Harry Mason.
Nice to meet you, Harry. So, what brings you here?
I'm looking for my daughter. She's missing. I convinced myself she'd be here.
She's a Midwich student?
No. She's just 7. Her name is Cheryl.
Cheryl Mason?
Yeah.
There was a Cheryl Mason when I was here. She was above me at school.
Must be a different girl, same name. She's 7.
I'll show you. Come look. There you go. That's an old photo. You say she ran off?
No, we were in a car accident. That can't be my daughter.
How many Cheryl Masons could there be in a small town like this? She even looks like you.
There is a resemblance, but my Cheryl's just a kid.
You don't sound so sure. Come on.
The principal's office?
Yup. Locked. But with a little persuasion...
You're breaking into the principal's office?
I don't see any hall monitors. Evening, Mrs. Albright. You cow.
She's still around? I remember her.
She was when I graduated. I think she'll be here until someone drives a stake through her cold secretarial heart. That's the principal's PC. All the school records are on it. Students used to hack it to fix their grades. Hey, I was good at school. Principal Fisher was obsessed with changing his passwords.
And we're hacking into his PC to...
See if you can pull up the records for Cheryl Mason. See if she's your daughter. Prove me wrong.
If I do, we get out of here?
Sure. Take your time. I'm just gonna text my boyfriend to find out where the hell he is.
Here you will have to use the various objects around the principal's office to get answers for the password recovery questions on principal's computer. While I was recording this, I've had to play through this part 3 times, during which I've got different recovery questions. This is also where I messed up the worst during the recording, as I've forgotten to save after this part, and when I needed to reload due to me missing an important bit of dialogue into the later part of the game, I've lost all of the progress and was thrown all the way back here. So here's a tip for you: if you are indeed planning on playing this game, save whenever possible. After you find an answer for each security question and successfully enter the new password, you'll get another cutscene.
Shit.
You break it?
It just froze on me. It is her. It is her. We moved?
You don't remember because of the accident?
Simmons Street. It's not a great neighborhood. Why would we move there? I guess the cop was right. My ID was old, that wasn't my house. What else did I forget?
There's a phone number, why don't you call it?
I will. There's no reception, I'll be outside.
Good luck.
Yes?
Cheryl?
No, Dahlia. You want me to find her? Who's calling?
It's her father, Harry Mason. Is she okay?
Harry?
Is she okay?
Who the hell do you think you are?
Sorry? What's the...
Leave me alone!
It seems like whenever we are getting close to getting actual answers, the story gets more confusing. The world itself is trying to stop you from advancing by freezing over and throwing the monsters at you. The world is actively resisting and is attempting to keep you as far away as possible from Cheryl. Another chase sequence is upon you, and this time you have a task to complete besides just running to the exit. This first part of the chase sequence can be confusing and much harder, and you can easily get lost here. The game throws many enemies at you, but as soon as you reach the exit, the first half of it becomes inaccessible. The exit doors are blocked by 3 icy statues with another echo message attached to them.
Damn it! The door's shut behind you. I guess you're on your own. Show me some balls, okay? They're inside, so just go find them and get photos. Gonna nail that sleazy bastard, right? I'll try and get the doors open. Get moving!
Now you will need to run around the school to find 3 locations of ghosts you need to take a photo of. Luckily, the first half of the school gets blocked off, and there are fewer monsters to deal with here. I suggest that you take these photos all in one run, as it is much easier that way, and it can be done in one run. Taking a photo of each of the ghosts will give you different messages after returning to the exit. These messages contain pictures of a familiar looking girl in a shower, her making out with a teacher, and then sitting together in a car. Leaving the school will show you another cutscene with Michelle.
Harry? I was about to head off, but thought I ought to wait a little longer.
Thanks.
You okay? Any luck with the phone?
They didn't make any sense. I need to go there.
The Simmons Street address? That's the other side of town.
You got a car?
I was planning on getting a ride with John. There's my boss's SUV. Yeah, I'm looking after it while she's on vacation. It's at the club where I work, not far from here. I could give you a lift.
That would be great. Lead the way around it. She was in the back sleeping, then the crash. She was gone.
Your head is still jumbled up, Harry. Just give it a while, okay? You should go see a doctor.
I'll make sure Cheryl is safe, then worry about myself.
I want to be with John.
And John?
He wants it too. It's just hard. Back in school, he was very passionate.
They say absence makes the heart grow fonder.
You believe that?
Absolutely.
Good thing we're closed.
How so?
Not sure they'd let you in with that outfit.
I'm the best dressed writer I know.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm dating a lawyer. The Balkan.
Last time I was in a nightclub was for my...
I need to answer this. The keys are in my room upstairs. Run up and grab them?
At the top of the staircase, you will get another message from Dahlia, and you will be standing in front of two doors, one with stars and one with kiss marks. Choose the door with the design that appeals to you more, and enter. Here you have to find the keys, but you will never find them on your first try. Come back down to Michelle, and another cutscene will play.
I got the keys.
I just need to finish my drink. Take a seat.
Things go okay with John?
Yeah, he's gonna come meet me here once I've dropped you off. Everything's gonna be fine, you know? We'll be there soon, and then you can see your wife and daughter and...
Wife?
You're married, aren't you? You're wearing a ring. You okay?
No, I'm a bit lightheaded. Gotta go clear my head. Michelle?
Who the hell is Michelle?
Where's Michelle?
Funny. Come on, let's get going.
This is out of control. I came in here with a girl called Michelle. She was going to drive me to Simmons Street. Who are you?
Are you on something? I'm Dahlia. Hottest piece of ass you'll ever see in this town. You are Harry Mason. Generally, a fun guy to be with. Stop being a dick and let's get going. We'll get to Simmons Street and see Cheryl.
Cheryl?
Your daughter? Oh, come on, you're not that wasted. That's why we're in this lousy club, to get the SUV so we can drive up to Simmons Street.
That's right, but...
It's just... no more craziness. You're freaking me out. We make a pretty sorry pair, huh?
What?
We're always so wasted. I'm pretty and you're vacant.
You're not getting it. I don't know who you are. Maybe it was the car accident. I don't know. But you're acting like we know each other, and I've never seen you before in my life.
Seriously? You are screwed up.
It's scary. I feel like I remember everything. But there's you, my daughter, things that don't fit. And I think I'm seeing things.
Shit, the bridge is up.
What can we do?
Run up to the control room. See if you can get it moving.
Okay.
Look, don't flip out on me. No forgetting what you're doing and wandering off.
Hey, I got it.
I'll be waiting. Jesus.
It is indeed the same girl that sent you a selfie before, and she's exactly the punk you would not expect a family man like Harry to hook up with. Maybe he was cheating on his wife with her, who knows?
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
Climbing up into the bridge control room, you will find a panel with a few lights and levers, and there is no way to know how to operate it unless you are a greaser and remember every single detail of this game. The only option here is to call a number hidden in the small cabinet to your right. Dialing the number will connect you to the guy who works in this place. As soon as he starts explaining to you how the controls work, the code glitches out.
You want to know how to operate the bridge controls?
Yes.
Okay, alright. Mr. Mason, listen carefully. You need to start by pushing the...
Hello?
Then...
Fair enough, there is a snowstorm and the signal is really terrible. A few moments later, he sends you a voice message and explains how the panel works. After you lower down the bridge, return to Dahlia.
Let's go.
Level with me, Harry. This a joke. You putting me on?
No, I told you.
Cause if you got a problem with me, but you're too chicken shit to come out and say it, that's low. It's pathetic. Have some self-respect.
I'm not making this up. I'm not. Just drive.
Okay. No, it's not okay. I think you're full of shit.
Dahlia, listen.
I'm not gonna sit here and have you screw around with me. I don't need the hassle.
Harry?
Dahlia!
It seems like some supernatural force is actively trying to kill Harry to prevent him from accomplishing any goal he sets out to do, be it finding out basic information about his daughter or simply crossing the bridge. These attacks are getting worse and worse every time Harry is about to make some sort of progress. The car is slowly filling up with water, there is no way to escape, and Dahlia is just sitting there frozen in time. You have to wait until the water reaches a certain level to be able to retrieve your flashlight. As soon as you do this, the car gets attacked by the monsters and everything freezes over. You're trapped here and there's no possible way of escaping. The monsters start scratching messages onto the windows as water completely fills the car. There are two options you have here. You can sit in the car until you drown, or you tune the car's radio until the song gets clear enough to trigger an audio cue. If you choose to do the first option, Harry will simply drown after an excruciatingly long time. If you choose the second option, you will be able to open the passenger's door and swim out. I chose to escape the car rather than wait, as it gives you an extra cutscene. Harry survived, but Dahlia died down there, and as this terrible realization settles in Harry's mind, he passes out. After this, we are thrown into another therapy scene.
Nasty, but inevitable. Everyone is going to die, even if we like to pretend otherwise. You could die tonight, in your sleep. Why doesn't that terrify you? How would you like to die? No, wait, let me guess. You'd want to die surrounded by family. It's academic, really, as we're only truly conscious of death when it happens to others. Get to my age, you'll have seen plenty of people die. There 1 minute, then gone. Okay, game time.
Just divide the pictures according to who you believe is sleeping and who is dead. After this, Kaufman will have a snarky remark.
It's just an exercise. There's no right answer. Actually, they were all dead. Okay, let's get back to it.
You are now back in the cold and wet shoes of Harry Mason. He got saved by Sybil and is in different clothes, getting pushed in a wheelchair through Alchemilla Hospital. This part of the game is very short, so don't get too comfy.
Seen the bridge. We went right off the side.
Harry, the bridge has been closed since the storm started. You swam. You could have died of hypothermia.
My clothes.
You were soaked to the skin. I grabbed what I could find here. We need to talk. When I was at the station, I pulled the file on Harry Mason.
No breaks, straight into a chase sequence in the hospital. The mysterious force is still actively trying to kill Harry. Since you can't turn left and right, tap as fast as you can. As soon as you crash down the stairs, take a moment to recover, otherwise you will have an extremely hard time for the rest of the chase. Monsters can't enter this room, so you don't have to worry. Run as fast as you can and pick up the flare along the way. Run through the train yard until you are back in the hospital and the door behind you freezes over. You will get another message from Dahlia here.
What was up with you last night? I have the worst headache. Where the hell did you leave Sue's SUV?
Seems like Dahlia survived the crash, but has no recollection of it. Well, at least she is safe and alive. Here you will get another echo message.
Yeah, they say she'll be okay. She's in good spirits. She liked the chocolates and the bear. Though she says she'd rather see you.
Yeah, I know.
Tell Mom about the song.
Right, the song. Yeah, I got the radio to play her song. She loved that. And now she's going to go to sleep. Visiting's almost up and she needs a rest. You'll be in tomorrow? Okay.
Go over to the radio and tune it until you hear an ad telling you that you can have a song request. Look at the posters around you and you will see an incomplete phone number. The last digit is the song you want to have played on the radio, so dial the number for Daddy's Girl. After this, the song begins playing but glitches out, opening the exit. Another voice message will get delivered to your phone.
Oh, she's fine. She's going to be fine. I want to go visit, but he's doing a good enough job. Spoiling her, as you'd expect. Don't want to cast a cloud over it. No use getting her hopes up, you know? I'm just so glad she's okay.
After you leave the room, you'll be shown another cutscene.
Open. Come on. God, please open.
Are you okay?
You're not from the hospital.
No.
I had an accident.
That yours?
No. Yes. I'm not making any sense, am I?
It's okay. Let's get you inside. You need help.
I want to go home. I have medicine and gauze there. I'm a nurse. It's a few blocks north. I just need to rest.
I'm headed that way. Can you walk?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. Don't worry. Head wounds always bleed a lot. Lots of blood vessels close to the surface. It's nothing serious. I can clean up back at my place.
Lisa. I'm Harry.
Harry Houdini. Sorry. I'm always saying goofy things that come into my head.
Lisa, the nurse from the first game, is back and seems to be a bit unfazed by the entire car crash after you leave through the hole in the wall. At first it didn't seem weird to me, but looking back at the footage it's very out of place once you notice it. You would expect that Harry would call the fireman or something, but both of them just leave and don't mention the crash ever again. For now, just follow Lisa and listen to the conversation. Even though Harry had suffered some form of amnesia due to the car crash at the start of the game, he still remembers some details from his life before the accident. This makes these sections feel even more real, as it might even make you think that it is all really happening.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
Here we are. My apartment is just around the corner. Used to belong to the super. It's a lot bigger than the others, but I only pay standard rent. The landlord has a thing for nurses. Grab a seat. I'm just gonna get out of these things.
I oughta...
You're not running off yet. Warm up before you head back out there. I haven't thanked you yet. 5 minutes. Come on, sit. Sit! Watch some TV if you want. I won't be long. You know, you're a nice guy, Harry.
Thanks.
I feel safe around you.
You okay?
Headache. Be a hero. Fetch me some pills from the bathroom. Check the cabinet. Get me some yellow ones.
Sure.
Go to the cabinet in the bathroom and bring her a pill of her choosing. You can also bring the wrong pill, but you are either an asshole when you do this, or you're literally me and you reloaded your save just to lose a lot of progress to be thrown all the way back before the chase in the school.
Pain. Suffering. Agony.
Either way, it doesn't change the outcome of what is about to happen.
Thanks.
Water?
No, fine. Self-medication. The one true perk of the healthcare profession. It's not just coffee that keeps us going 24/7. Okay, I'm going to sleep now. You let yourself out.
What do you have to say for yourself?
Guilty.
Your Honor, my client would like to plead insanity.
You feel guilty about everything. When we all lived in huts and wore furs, we worried over the simple things. Food, water, whether animals would come and eat us in the night. Now we have supermarkets, bottled water, and .38 caliber home security. So what keeps us awake at night? More often than not, guilt. If only I had acted differently. If only I hadn't said that. If only I'd said something. You beat yourself up with your past. Don't blame yourself. Blame the world. Blame God. Blame me. Okay, this is my favorite. Let me introduce some friends of mine.
Listen to the tale and organize the figures according to the degree of guilt you believe each character has in the death of the princess. This is the one activity in all the therapy sessions where I have no idea how it affects the game going forward. Sure, I could tell you about how the others affect the game, or at least with certain therapy activities how they could affect it, but with this one I literally have no idea.
Done? Poor Wilhelm. You think if he really loved her, he would never have forced the marriage. I find the best cure for guilt is to never get caught in the first place. Let's continue.
Leave the apartment and go into the mall. You have two ways of entering the mall, but be sure to take a photo of the mall's mascot on the sign when you take the entrance to the left after you leave the apartment. It will come in handy later on and will make the next chase sequence a lot easier. Go into the mall, pass over one of the two walkways and approach the big doors, where you will get a call from Lisa.
Lisa?
Harry. Oh, Harry.
What's wrong?
I don't feel well. I woke up. I had such a terrible dream. Blood everywhere.
Try to stay calm, Lisa. I'm coming.
Oh, God, Harry. Please hurry.
The situation is not good and you have to make a quick dash the same way you came here. Rush back and enter the apartment again.
Harry.
Lisa? No!
Don't move.
No. This isn't what...
I said don't move. Stand up and step away from the girl.
This isn't what it looks like.
Stop talking. What have you done?
She was in an accident. I didn't do this.
Accident? Shut the hell up. You've been feeding me bullshit all night. You bastard.
I didn't...
Shut up! I know you're not Harry Mason.
Lisa died. She was probably in shock from the car crash, which caused her to have a huge adrenaline rush. When it finally wore off, she succumbed to her wounds. It doesn't matter whether you gave her the right pill or the wrong pill, or if you ran as fast as you could, she dies anyway. Not only is the town itself trying to stop Harry from finding Cheryl, now he's also a suspect of murder, and Sybil thinks that he stole his identity. At least the world froze over when you had a gun pointed at you, because all that is left for you is to run. Run for the mall as fast as you can, and I mean that. This is a really hard chase section, as you can very easily get lost. Going in a straight line is not an option here, as the paths keep branching, twisting, going up and down. More enemies than ever are now chasing you, and they are coming out from every hallway as the mall is infested with them. Along the way you will come across a statue of the mall's mascot to convert, so if you didn't take the picture from before, you should take it now to avoid having to go back here. Keep running until you reach the roof of the mall. If you are able to guess the correct path on your first try, you are lucky. Otherwise, you will have to dodge a lot of these monsters. There are 4 doors here, but you are looking for the one with the garage access north sign above it. Run down, and to the right of you are double doors. This is a safe area, but the exit doors are frozen over. You will get another echo message here, and from it, you will get a clue as to what gumballs you need to get from the machine.
You, gonna be home when we get back? Sure. Sure. No, she's fine.
Can I have some bubble gum?
Oh, sure. Here. She wanted some gum. It's hardly spoiling her. Wait.
No, I don't want those colors. I want my favorite colors.
What are your favorite colors?
Mom knows.
I'm sure she does. You hear that? Yeah, well, she won't tell me. The mascot? The cartoon bird? Okay. Like this, sweetie?
Yes!
You need to shake the machine in order to make the right color appear in the small window. If you didn't take the photo of the mascot when you had the 2 opportunities, you will have to run back the way you came until you find the statue of the mascot so that you can take a picture of it. After you get the correct gumballs, you will get another voice message.
Come on, save some for later.
I'll keep this one for Mom.
That's a great idea. Come on, last one of the escalators is it.
After you go through the doors, the world will unfreeze. If you call up Sybil here, you will get this conversation.
I want to explain. I was helping her.
You want to help someone? You turn yourself in.
I can't. Not until Cheryl's safe.
Oh, your daughter. Right.
Continuing onwards, you will find an echo message near the car on the display stage.
Malcolm, doing my rounds. I saw her again. Shit, you know, I guess I can say this. I turned my back when she took something. Pretended I didn't see it. Why? I don't know. I guess I feel sorry for her. Last time, when we grabbed her, when we were talking to her, I don't know, there was so much sadness in those eyes. I felt sorry for her.
Continue through the pet store, and here you can get another memento and an echo voice message.
I'm looking for a dog. Here.
Oh, you're looking for that dog?
No.
Or,
not this dog. One that looks the same.
Exactly the same?
Right.
You're in luck.
Continue down the back and into the hallway, where you will meet the scared ghost girl again. Enter the door at the end of the hallway and enter the toy store. To get the key to the front doors, you will need to crash the train that has the key in it by using the control panel. Continue up the stairs and into another part of the mall. This is the pet mascot you were running past during the chase. Near it, you'll get a call from Michelle. Sorry for the video quality here, I ran directly into an echo during the call, so it sort of sounds like an Arab funny shit post.
Harry?
Yeah.
Just wanted to let you know I'm okay. John's here, finally. We're gonna see if we can find a bite to eat.
I'm glad.
How are you doing?
Okay. On my way to Simmons Street. Michelle, what happened at the club? What?
Sorry, Harry. You're breaking up. What was that?
Michelle?
Afterwards, you will get a text message with a photo attached.
Look what I just got. She's so cute. She loves me so much and keeps trying to lick my face. I call her Haley.
Here you are given another choice. Either you enter the New Looks salon or the gift shop, where you will get another message when you try to leave through the door with the keypad. In the voice message, you will hear 2 sound bites. Open the birthday cards on the shelves and use the numbers from the ones that have the same songs as the ones in the voice message as a password for the keypad. In the back hallway, when you go to open the wardrobe, you will find a bag marked as Evidence A near a walkie-talkie. You can't pick those up, but it will be an important detail in a moment. Enter a photo store through the only openable door and you will get an echo text message from the problem child subset of messages.
Another profitable day at the mall. Today I bagged myself a nice top, memory card, 2 CDs, cheap necklace, pair of jeans and pretty ring. That dopey guard spotted me again, didn't say a word. I hope he's not planning to make a career out of this.
Exit the store and to your left, you will find the ghost of a girl sitting on a bench. Take a photo of it to get another voicemail.
911. It's Malcolm, the security guard. He's been stabbed.
Slow down, sir. Is there bleeding?
Yes, there's lots. He's not moving.
And the attacker, is he still there?
She. It's a she. She's still here. She's sitting on a bench. She's just staring into space.
The police and the ambulance are on their way. Do not approach the attacker.
The knife you found in the closet in that hallway was the evidence from this attack. If you look closely at the girl, she kinda looks like someone, doesn't she?
This is starting to get my noggin jogging a little.
Go into the cinema and continue inside the auditorium. You will be surprised by a loud echo, and the screen itself will show 2 images depending on your previous choices. Continue onwards and you will get a text message from Dahlia.
Miss you, Harry. It's boring without you.
Leave the mall and you will be in the snowy streets once again. At the end of the street is a pawn shop. Enter it and you will have to unscrew the shelf on the wired fence at the cash register to get the key. Take it, enter the back and go upstairs.
Cheryl? Sweetie, is that you? You've been gone for so long, I started to worry. Sweetie? Who the hell are you? Harry?
How do you know me? Where's Cheryl?
Still at the lighthouse, maybe.
Lighthouse?
What are you doing here, Harry?
Looking for Cheryl. Isn't this my house? Who are you?
You look really good.
Who are you?
We're soulmates, you and I. For richer or poorer, in sickness and in health.
You're my wife?
Nothing makes sense anymore. Who is the girl that keeps reappearing in those messages you get from echoes and from taking pictures of the ghosts? Where is Cheryl? Why does Dahlia's age keep changing? Why are memories of other people conflicting with Harry's memories? Why are people around Harry and Harry himself forgetting that certain things happened or even outright ignoring certain events? There is only one way for Harry to find out, and that is by continuing this death march. Even the frozen world is no longer making sense, as it doesn't just freeze over the regular world, but creates impossible and vast landscapes, long staircases and massive walls which stretch into the sky and the abyss. There are no branching paths here, all you can do is just go down. There is a platform here and no road forward, so with nothing else left to do, Harry plunges into the darkness. When you finally land at the bottom, you just have to go from one chair to the other, following the noise your phone makes. You suddenly appear in a house, and the path here is really simple, just keep going forward. After you come close to the mirror in the basement, you will reappear in another chase section. This section isn't straightforward, and as you keep passing through the doors, they throw you into seemingly random and looping rooms. The trick here is to enter the doors that have a lit up light bulb above them. If you are playing the PSP version, you will most likely have to turn off your flashlight here to see these light bulbs, as well as to get better performance. After a while, you will get another straightforward section. Just keep going forward through the series of twisting rooms until you will be forced to jump down into the abyss yet again. Frames from the video from the beginning will be showing up on the wall until Harry wakes up on the ground again. Here you'll have to get to the statue in the middle. Getting to it is simple, turn on your flashlight and just watch the ground for the shadows of the walls to appear. As soon as you approach it, you are thrown into another chase, but this time the enemies are already behind you and you will have to start running immediately without having any time to collect your thoughts. The way to beat this area is to go into the doors with the dirty eyes around them. Eventually you will enter another dark abyss with a door at its end. Finally, you found Cheryl's room, but...
Cheryl. This is your room. But you're not in it.
I hate my wife.
You know, I think we're getting somewhere. We're all tied up in this marriage thing. Marriage worked a lot better when we didn't live so long. We have phrases like the honeymoon is over to remind us how quickly marriage is sour. You think I'm being cynical? Divorce does that to you. Come on, you think marriage can really last? Should a couple stay together for the kids? Do you think it's a bad idea to marry young? You think sex becomes stale after marriage? You know what? You being such an expert on marriage, you're going to ace my matchmaker test. On the table are 6 pictures. All you have to do is sort them into 3 married couples.
Next you will have to match the couples in the pictures, and your decision to match them in a certain way will influence the ending.
Okay. Now tell me which of those couples are still together. I'm joking. You know I'm just trying to provoke you, right? Oh, let's keep going. We're really making progress here.
Harry? Harry? Were you dreaming? Are you okay?
What are you doing here? This place is...
You're home, right? I saw the photos of you in the corridor, you and your family.
Cheryl isn't here.
I'm sorry.
The woman said Cheryl was at the lighthouse.
The lighthouse closed down years ago.
Now, I need to go there.
John and I can drive you there. We'll take the lake road.
Thank you.
So you're Harry. John. Well, don't mind me. I'm sure you two have lots of catching up to do.
John, don't be silly.
Space wins out over engine size.
I'd swap the car for a family.
You are forced to sit in the car while you listen to these two have an argument. I've never seen this happen in any of my playthroughs, but according to the Silent Hill wiki, there is a possibility that Michelle will be the one to initiate the argument and not John.
I wanted to come see you to talk things through.
Talk? About our relationship?
Michelle, there is no relationship.
Please, don't do this. Not now.
If not now, when? Where? Christ, Michelle, I've been trying to do this for months, but you don't want to hear it.
You're not thinking right. It's been too long since we've been together.
No, Michelle. I was hoping to do this right, but I need to do it. We've been running on empty for a long time. Living on fumes. It isn't a relationship, it's a courtesy.
If I still love you, it can't be over.
It is! You don't love me. You love the John in your head.
Please.
I can't listen to this. I can't do this anymore.
John!
You will eventually be allowed to leave the world, and you will have to get through multiple locations to get to the park. Here you can call Sybil and Dahlia, both giving you interesting conversations.
Harry? Harry?
I need to reach the lighthouse.
The lighthouse? Harry, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Harry?
Yes, it's me. I need to know. What happened?
Stop. This isn't going to work. I know this can't.
I need to understand. You said you were my wife.
I said a lot of things. I won't do this to myself again.
After you get out of the sewers, you are back in the town again. You can get an echo voice message here as well. It's on the red car next to the pier.
Here, finally.
Place hasn't changed a bit.
like us.
Have you seen the lake? Come on, let's go!
She's got the right idea. Just go with the flow. We're on vacation. Hey, wait up!
Continue through the souvenir shop to get to a bar where Michelle is. This is the last time you see her in the game, so if you've liked her character, this is the last time you will be able to enjoy her.
Boobies.
Hey.
It's over, John and me. I don't think he's loved me for a long time. I was in love with an idea of this person, but that wasn't John. What a waste. You know, I should have realized when he said he wanted to be a lawyer. You're still headed for the lighthouse?
Yeah.
You'll need a boat to cross the lake. They often moor at the jetty behind the amusement park. Head through the alley out back, you'll see it. I used to go there with John. I doubt it's as exciting as I remember it. Are you sure you want to go, Harry?
That's all I got.
Something feels wrong.
She's there. I know it this time. I'll get my answers.
You might not like them.
Aha, Jonathan, you are banging my daughter!
Well, for me, this part that I've titled Sex is really just a subsection of the love part. You'll get another therapy session, and Kaufman straight up disses you for having zero play.
We're getting deep in it now, I can almost taste it. All this talking, and we still haven't touched on the sex thing. That's what you're thinking. Aren't all psychiatrists supposed to be obsessed with sex? It's not us. It's you. You're obsessed with not having sex. Come on, let's have some fun. See the pictures on the table? I want you to divide them up. The ones you think are a sexual symbol go on the left, the ones that aren't, the right.
This is a not so standard Rorschach test, so just divide the pictures in whichever way you please.
Done? None of them? Now you're screwing with me.
It is clear that Kaufman is drunk at this point, as he keeps on rambling like a philosopher and not like a psychiatrist. Anyway, this is the last therapy session you will be forced to get through.
The tiger in space, a plea for annihilation. To deny sex is to deny death itself. You know, people who are getting enough don't need analysis. You clearly are not getting enough. Let's see this through to the end.
After you are out of the therapy, you will be back with Harry. When you get outside, you will see the distant light of the lighthouse above the water, which is your destination. Eventually, you will be able to get to the amusement park, but you will have to enter it through the ticket booth. This is the part where the family video from the start was recorded. You can take a ghost photo here of Harry and Cheryl fooling around the cutout painting, and you will get a voice message.
Milady, I hope you are unharmed from your brush with death.
Dad!
Oh, that ferocious dragon. You were almost consumed. Such a hideous beast.
Dad, it's just a painting. It's not real. Stop being silly.
You embarrassing your daughter again.
To get to the next area, you will have to climb into the Tunnel of Love through a service opening in the wall. Here, you will have to run around this section of the tunnel to get 2 voice messages, as well as chase around the small scared girl ghost like you're on Epstein Island. But for the sake of this video, I will cut it down to just the voice messages.
I remember that first date so clearly.
It was fun. You were a good date.
It was easy to be happy back then.
How about a kiss? For old time's sake?
For old time's sake?
Please remain inside your carriage. This ride has been temporarily halted due to a guest in the tunnel.
That ruined it.
Since when did a little privacy ruin a kiss?
I'm sorry. I ruined your ride. I'm sorry if I ruined everything.
It's not ruined. We're just glad you're safe.
Those swans pack a mean peck. They do?
Yeah, like this.
Go a bit further and you will get to a boat, in which Dahlia is waiting.
Harry Mason, you're late.
For what?
Your party. I started without you, so you're playing catch-up.
I need to get to the lighthouse.
Well, it can do that too. For a price.
My daughter is there. I need to be there.
Harry, always with the weight of the world on his shoulders. I remember when you were a fun-loving guy.
We're talking about my daughter, damn it!
Okay. We'll be at the lighthouse in about 20 minutes. It's a slow boat.
You know what's happening to me.
I know a lot of things.
You don't know the half of it. I've seen you die. I've seen a woman with the same name twice your age. She said she was my wife. Every step I take, Cheryl gets further away.
But now she's at the lighthouse. Nowhere else to go.
Who are you, Dahlia?
I already told you. I'm the lay of your life. Your salvation and your curse.
Harry wakes up next to Dahlia in the frozen nightmare. The boat got stuck in the middle of the lake, and the town, or whatever force is behind all of this, is now trying to do whatever it can to stop Harry. You will also get a desperate call from Dahlia after you leave the boat, but you can't return to her now.
Harry! Turn back!
I can't. It's too late now.
For our daughter's sake!
This is the last stretch of the game. Here you have to keep pushing forward into the darkness, and your battery isn't very useful here. After a bit of running, you will get a message from Sybil.
This your cute 7-year-old?
You are probably more confused than ever. This can't possibly be Cheryl, as she's just 7. But at the same time, at various points in the game, you've seen multiple times that Cheryl is much older. Was it the same Cheryl, or just someone who has the same name and kinda resembles her? Were all the girls that were appearing in the various messages the same person? Or did Harry just forget how old his daughter actually is? Keep going forward, and another chase will begin. No matter how fast you run, more monsters keep appearing on all sides. Eventually you will be overwhelmed by them, and just when it seems that Harry is going to die, the lighthouse's beam of light will freeze the monsters over. But at the same time the entire lake unfreezes, and you will be forced to swim to the lighthouse. Under the water, you will see statues of various scenes from the game, but they are really hard to make out. Eventually, Harry sinks underwater and...
You're not stopping me.
I'm not here to stop you. I didn't have to fish you out of the water, did I?
Stop talking! You can't talk me out of this.
I'm not here to stop you. I pulled your file at the station. I told you that, right? If you're telling the truth, this doesn't make sense. But I think you are telling the truth. I believe you think you're Harry Mason. Hell, I believe you are Harry Mason. But Harry Mason was killed in a car crash 18 years ago. You want answers? Yes, they're waiting in there.
That's the lighthouse.
Nothing's quite what you expect, is it? I'm gonna stick with my gut from now on. You saved us both a lot of trouble. Hope this works out for you.
So you are apparently dead, and Cheryl is a criminal. It doesn't make sense at all, but there's nothing else left to do but finish the game. Upon the entry, Harry comments on the giant sign outside and says,
"It's a clinic?"
Go deeper into the clinic and...
This is going nowhere. I'm spelling it out, but you're not listening. Your troubled school days? How you're conflicted about marriage? Your denial of death? The unfounded guilt? Abnormal sexuality? 18 years of denial. A whole universe of fantasy in that thick skull of yours. A skull teeming with agents of repression. Blind children clutching photos in the dark. Pale freaks goggle-eyed from watching home movies on loop. The term is complicated grief. But it's simple, isn't it? A young girl. Her parents don't get along. She blames herself, as all children do. Then Daddy dies. What's a girl to do? Deny that Daddy died. Deny who Daddy was. What 7-year-old actually knows who their parents are anyway? So she obsesses and obsesses over this fantasy dad propping up her make-believe with scraps of a happy life that never was, scraps of a father who never existed. Wake up! Your dad wasn't a hero. Wasn't your knight in shining armor. He was a human being. You never knew him, and you never will. The dad walking around in your head isn't even a ghost. He never existed. A Frankenstein's monster, a child's fantasy. But you're alive. Your mother is alive. She's not the monster you make her out to be. You need to live your life. Cheryl.
You've been with me for so long.
I always will be.
You'll be careful?
Sure.
Harry.
We've said enough. Let's just... Sweetie, don't film this. You know this has nothing to do with you, right? Even though Mom and Dad don't love each other anymore, we both love you. And we always will. Now, come on.
The protagonist wasn't Harry. It was his daughter, Cheryl, in whose head this entire story was unfolding. All the people that you've met during the game weren't real. They were just a bunch of people that Cheryl had met at various points in her life that later reappeared while she was imagining her father's journey to find her. These people were behaving in a way that Cheryl thought they would behave, as there is no other way in which she remembers them. The Harry you knew was never real, as the car crash you've seen during the intro was fatal to him. The locations you've visited were locations where something significant happened in Cheryl's life. All the side events, all the photos you've taken, all the voicemails, all of it was a part of Cheryl's memory or imagination. Nothing that you saw really happened. It was all a story created by Cheryl's subconscious to help her cope with her father's death, and the last-ditch effort of her subconscious mind to stop her from facing the harsh reality. She hoped that her father was coming for her, or that he was still somewhere out there, but he wasn't. He was dead. Because the story is already confusing and non-linear, I will try to play a little bit of MatPat, and I will take all the scraps we were given to create a possible storyline for this game. Bear in mind that this part is completely a theory I made up. I might be going against the intention of the developers and writers of this game, but as the devs have mentioned multiple times, the game was created in a way to allow players to create their own interpretations of the story and lore. So, I decided to show you only the voice messages that matter to me. Also, most of this theory was written with just the evidence that I've gathered from the game, as well as with some information taken from the Silent Hill wiki. Yes, that one that had the moderator obsessed with foreskins.
Like the Jewish doctor, Shalom, and then...
With that in mind, let's examine Cheryl's story right from the start. Way before Cheryl was born, Harry was a writer, as evidenced by two of the endings. Harry probably met Dahlia at the Balkan Club, and the two fell in deep romantic love, having lots of sex while drinking. They eventually got married, moved into the house on Levin Street, and had a daughter named Cheryl. Time passed and Cheryl was growing up in a loving family. However, things weren't looking so good for Harry and Dahlia, as they fought often, managing to hide it from their daughter. Eventually, they went on a trip to Caldecott Woods. Another family was staying at the woods, and Cheryl probably became friends with the boys for the few days, as they were on a hunting trip with their father. However, Cheryl cut herself on broken glass, and her parents rushed her to the hospital. While they were away, Joel Jr., one of the boys, was playing with his brother near the pump station. Jr. decided to prank his brother and locked him in a cage. However, the water level started rising, and with Jr. being unable to open the cage, his brother drowned. Sometime later, Harry bought Cheryl a dog, but accidentally ran over it when he was coming home.
We hit something.
Oh, shit.
What is it?
It's...
Oh, shit.
What do I tell her?
He rushed to buy another dog that looked exactly like it so that Cheryl wouldn't suspect a thing. At that time, Harry's relationship with Dahlia was strained, and they decided to break up. They wanted to give Cheryl her last happy day and decided to go to an amusement park. This is where the tape of Harry and Cheryl fooling around from the beginning was recorded. However, just as Harry and Dahlia were about to kiss in the Tunnel of Love, Cheryl snuck in and ruined their ride. On that same day, Harry had his bags packed already. Just as he was leaving with his last bag, he had a small talk with Dahlia and noticed that Cheryl was recording them the entire time. He explained to her that even though he and Dahlia didn't love each other no more, they would still love her, and this unending love is what stayed with Cheryl for the rest of her life. At some point, Cheryl had to stay at Alchemilla Hospital for a few days, and here she met Lisa Garland when she was sick in the bed. Harry and Dahlia took turns visiting her, and it was apparent to Dahlia that Harry loved Cheryl so much that he was practically spoiling her, as even afterwards, he took her to the mall for shopping sprees. However, this relative bliss and the shared care didn't last long, as Harry died in a car crash during winter of that same year. After Harry's death, Dahlia wasn't able to pay for the house on Levin Street much longer, and eventually sold it to stewards that Harry met in the game. Dahlia and Cheryl then moved to Simmons Street, where Dahlia opened up a pawn shop. Saddened by Harry's sudden death, Cheryl fell into deep depression. The first ghost which we can take a picture of is Cheryl's memory of her longing for her father in a playground, while she is all alone. She was dealing with complicated grief, and in order to protect herself from the reality, she started creating a fantasy world where her father was not dead. However, during the process of growing up, her relationship with Dahlia was also getting strained, and Cheryl began resenting her. Cheryl's teenage years weren't happy either, as her life just kept getting worse, adding up to the trauma she already went through. She started stealing from the mall and eventually got caught multiple times by the security guard Malcolm. This is where she met Officer Sybil Bennett for the first time when she got arrested for theft. During one night, she went to one party in Caldecott Woods and someone brought drugs. Cheryl, feeling weirded out by the fact that there were drugs present, decided to call Dahlia to come pick her up, but before Dahlia could arrive, someone slipped her some drugs. She got a massive panic attack and ran out into the snow, tearing off her clothes. The boys who gave her the drugs tried calming her down, but Cheryl was more scared than before, as when she was running around the forest naked, she found the frozen corpse of her short-lived childhood friend, Joel Jr., who she met in the same forest when she was a child. He killed himself by freezing to death out in the woods on the same night as the party which Cheryl attended. The corpse got reported, but Cheryl managed to not get into any troubles. During her teenage years, Cheryl found a boyfriend, Steve. He tried to persuade her into having sex with him, but she was afraid of having sex. They got drunk together, and Steve drove her up on an overlook where he raped her in his car. Cheryl regretted the sex, and because of that, Steve broke up with her over text. To get back at Cheryl, he wrote a message on a wall in the school. Everyone started prank calling Cheryl, and naturally, because they were in high school, bullying was next in line. Nobody wanted to take Cheryl to the prom due to her being marked as a whore and an alcoholic. Everyone was her enemy except for one teacher, who she started an affair with. Even though they tried to hide it, they eventually got caught, and photos where she was with him, as well as her naked photos, were getting passed around the school. The teacher got kicked out and broke up with Cheryl as he was using her only for sex. Devastated by this, Cheryl had a mental breakdown. She didn't have a home to go to as she was into Dahlia. She had no friends to turn to for help as everyone she knew was bullying her. Her father was far away, unable to find her. Her boyfriend broke up with her and disgraced her, and the teacher was with her only for sex. Her short-lived friend Joel Jr. was dead. Cheryl remembered that recently a guy from her school named Todd committed suicide, and she saw that as the only option left. She decided to end her life in the mall, but when the security guard Malcolm, that called her multiple times, tried to stop her from hurting herself, she stabbed him. As Malcolm was bleeding out on the ground, Cheryl went into shock and just stared at him. After a few minutes, she got detained. Malcolm luckily recovered, and as he was feeling sorry for her, he decided to not press any charges. Thus, Cheryl wasn't sent to prison, but to a mental hospital. After she got released, Cheryl tried to mend her relationship with Dahlia to no avail. To be able to financially support herself, she took on 2 jobs. One as a server in the Balkan, the nightclub where her parents met, and as a prostitute in a brothel near middle school. She started going to therapy, but the therapists just weren't able to help her as she kept refusing to acknowledge Harry's death, which probably resulted in her abandoning therapy altogether. One day on her shift in the brothel, she had a customer. That customer had a daughter and probably even some pedophilic tendencies, as he picked out Cheryl because of her resemblance to his daughter. However, their roleplay went too far one day and he slapped her. Cheryl broke down crying, as the slap had probably triggered another major mental breakdown. Dahlia, seeing that her daughter had spiraled out of control again, managed to get her an appointment with Dr. Kaufman in an attempt to help her. The therapists she was visiting before weren't very helpful, and Kaufman was the last one she hadn't tried yet. Cheryl arrived to the therapy, and this is the point where the game began. As the therapy begins, a fight started in her subconscious mind. A fight between her wanting to face the truth and her subconscious trying to suppress this attempt to accept the reality of Harry's death. Sure, Cheryl had idealized her father, but the real Harry may have been completely different depending on players' actions. The closer Harry gets to finding out the truth, the harder Cheryl's subconsciousness tries to fight back. People, events, details, messages, she starts to realize that everything in her head is all mixed up. She tries to resist the reality more and more, which makes Kaufman more cynical as the session progresses. Cheryl never knew Harry. She knew only the idealized version of him she created in her head when she was a kid. She finally realizes that through all this time and pain, she refused to believe that Harry was dead in order to cope with the mass amounts of trauma she went through during her life. Ready to move on, Cheryl decided to let go. She got rid of the mementos left behind by her father. During the credits, Kaufman writes a report on his computer, diagnosing Cheryl with complicated grief. She had accepted the fact that Harry is dead, and she is now delusion-free. However, there is also a lot of work ahead of them. In the end, the therapy session was successful, but there were probably many more issues left to solve. Silent Hill Shattered Memories has 3 different therapy scene variations and 4 different videotape endings. As for the therapy scene variations, these are called Broken, Bearer of Guilt, and Hero Forever. Look, this video is already long enough, so to find out how to get each ending, go and visit SilentHillMemories.net, links in the description. I'm just gonna really quickly sum it up. That's why I've mentioned previously that I will discuss the endings later. It's too much for me to go into details, but I can at least give you the basic description of the endings. I mean, y'all watching TikTok compilations daily, and only a few of you made it this far into the video, so I won't torture you more than is necessary. In the Broken ending, the therapy was successful, and Cheryl accepts the fact that Harry was dead all along. The therapy worked, and Cheryl peacefully parts with Harry's memory. And even though there is still work left to be done, there is a chance that Cheryl will recover. This is the ending that I've got, and it is the only good ending. In the Bearer of Guilt ending, the meaning changes, as well as the story that came before it. Cheryl was a very unfriendly and closed-off person, not letting anyone get close to her. In the end, she rejected even her imaginary father's help and remained all alone. The therapy worked. Cheryl realizes that Harry is dead, but the realization leaves her angry rather than content. In Hero Forever, Cheryl didn't care about anything and wasn't interested in getting any help after Harry died. She went as far as to even lie during Kaufman's therapy, not caring about contradicting herself during certain parts. Harry is her hero, and in her mind he never died. She was unable to let go of his memory. In the end, the therapy had no effect on her, and Harry still lives rent-free in Cheryl's head. As for the tape endings, there are 4 tapes. Just like with everything else, this tape changes depending on the choices you've made during the gameplay. Each ending can also be predicted by the different designs of the monsters, as well as Harry's clothes after he wakes up in Alchemilla Hospital. You've already seen the first tape ending in this video, it's called Love Lost. Harry was truly a good guy and wanted the best not only for his daughter, but for his ex-wife as well. This makes me think that the reason why Harry died here was that it was just an accident. It was nobody's fault, he just lost control of his car. Sleaze and Sirens doesn't display a family man, but a disgusting guy who cheats on his wife with Michelle and Lisa. This version of Harry was truly twisted, because he is willingly cheating on his wife, probably not caring about his family at all. When Cheryl was watching this tape, she took on her father's hypersexual traits. As to how this affects Harry's death, maybe he died when he was on his way to meet up with someone he was cheating on his wife with. By far the saddest one is Wicked and Weak. While she was playing with her camera, Cheryl accidentally recorded an argument between Harry and Dahlia. She was berating him for not having enough money, mocking his work as a writer, even slapping him and daring him to hit her back. Harry was so ashamed that he couldn't even look Cheryl in the eyes. My guess here is that this abuse he was getting from Dahlia made him commit suicide. Cheryl was disgusted by her father's weakness and became just as unfriendly as Dahlia was. The final tape ending, Drunk Dad, has Harry come back home after a night of binge drinking and shouting at Cheryl to bring him more beer while she records him. This version of Harry probably died while drunk driving and probably had so many deaths that Dahlia had no choice but to move out of the house on 11th Street to pay them off. As a result, Cheryl imitated Harry's alcoholism and became an alcoholic herself. There are different requirements for each ending, and you can pretty much guess which ending you are about to get based on various things. How certain characters are dressed, how certain conversations play out, or by the tone of certain messages and voice recordings. That's why I have said that I was not going to discuss every single variable in this game at the start of this video, because most of it would be me just listing all the variations of things I didn't consider vital for the story. It's already hard enough for you to listen to my scuffed English narration, and I don't want to torture you for that much longer, so let's just move on to the conclusion. It took me about 4 to 6 hours to beat this game, and even though it's relatively short and could probably be beaten in an even shorter amount of time, it still feels way longer, especially if you play it at night. Replaying this game after such a long time changed my opinion on it. Back when I was about 13, I didn't care that much about the world building in this game, and I pretty much cared only about the main story. Replaying this game after such a long time makes me appreciate both the technical aspects of the game and its story design. After all, it's just a heavily compressed port of a PS2 game ported to a portable gaming system with limited capabilities and with huge performance issues. Also, I admire the attempt of the developers to take a risk and create a spin-off that isn't connected to the mainline entries at all, especially after the 2 games that came out before it. The story of the mainline Silent Hill games was already complicated enough by the time Silent Hill 4 rolled around, and by the time Origins came out, the series was suffering with the cliché of writers trying to explain everything in the universe. Silent Hill is at its best when it's about the personal hell of the protagonist and not just about the cult of Silent Hill running around and trying to summon their god. In a way, Shattered Memories decided to take this to its extreme and create personalized hell for the player, albeit with limited technology. I'm sure that if this game came out now, they would have more tools at their disposal to tailor the experience for each player, but even in the context of mid-noughts technology, it's still a technical masterpiece. As I've mentioned at the start of this video, it got overshadowed by Penumbra and Amnesia. And while I do recognize the immense impact these 2 series had on horror genre as a whole, it's important to note that the safe sections, high-speed chases, as well as the lack of inventory management and more focus on the development and clearness of the story are things that not even Dark Descent did. Shattered Memories detracted from the slow burn-in survival horror of the previous games and tried to be a more straightforward game, while also including the messages and audio recordings for extra world building. Most horror games didn't do one or more of these things up until a couple of years later, and I'm not saying that horror games that came after stole from Shattered Memories, but that they just created something that was already invented. I've enjoyed my time with this game, and I'm glad that I was able to replay it and show you why this is one of my most beloved horror games. I love Silent Hill, and this is probably the game from the series I enjoy the most. Not just because it broke away from the formula of the mainline entries, but also because it dared to innovate the horror genre. Sure, modern horror games are doing many things that this game does, and way better than it did, but this game still sticks out even when it is compared to other horror games. Is it the best horror game? No, but it's definitely not bad or mid. And I know what the hardcore Team Silent stans will say: this game sucks, it was a shitty western spin-off, blah 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 blah. Who cares if the Japanese or the western dev teams made it? This is the only decent western Silent Hill when compared to the extremely boring Origins, the sheer garbage of Homecoming, and the really flawed mess of Downpour. Yeah, the series were better off when the Japanese devs from Team Silent were in charge, but I think that these people who defend Team Silent are all just Nihongophiles and Kojima stans who live in their mom's basement anyway. And as Pyro had said in his Total Chaos video,
you've watched a 2-hour video of a man talking about a free game. Go outside, touch some grass.
Once again, thank you for watching the video. I really hope you liked it, because it took me a long time to make it, just about 6 or 7 months, and I feel like this is by far one of the hardest things I've ever done in terms of my creative endeavors. I hope that in the future I will be able to do more of these reviews and steal more ideas from Pyro or other YouTubers. So, yeah, that's it. Bye.